Let's talk about minimalist living and 10 habits to stop doing in order to save money, live better, and be happier. Hey, and welcome back to Simple Happy Zen. It's Vera here, and thank you so much for being here. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to the channel for weekly videos about minimalism, intentional living, happiness, and self-development. So if you're not subscribed already, just click it down below, and let's begin with the 10 habits to stop doing when it comes to minimalist living. The first habit to stop doing is buying new clothes every time you either feel insecure or unhappy. And this is something that for the longest time I used to do in my teens and early 20s. And every time I would feel insecure because I was comparing myself to others who in my eyes were prettier or more stylish than I would go out and buy new clothes or accessories. And I ended up buying so many clothes that I didn't need, and also a lot of them I hardly ever wore. Buying something new never made me feel better about myself or less insecure or less unhappy. And it felt like the more I was buying stuff, the more I was seeing on other people things that I didn't have yet, and the more insecure I started to feel. Retail therapy might help to boost your mood for a little while, but it never really truly lasts. And the best thing you can do is to find the root cause of your either insecurities or unhappiness and try to fix that and help yourself fix those issues instead of buying something new to cover them up. And definitely your wallet and your wardrobe will thank you for that as well. And please let me know in the comments what your main goals are when it comes to minimalism and perhaps decluttering in 2020, because I'm really curious to know which things you want to focus on this year. Number 2, and I feel very strongly about this, is to stop berating yourself when you make a mistake. Nowadays, sometimes it feels to me like we need to hide away all the parts about ourselves that are human, and we are so focused on everything needing to be perfect that we don't allow ourselves to make a mistake or have any weaknesses. And it can be the same way when you're trying out minimalism. So when you are changing from a more consumerist lifestyle or a more maximalist lifestyle into a more minimalist lifestyle, then allow yourself to explore it, make mistakes. You don't have to do it perfectly. And making mistakes is how we develop and grow, and they're a part of trying new things and taking risks. So mistakes are a good thing. They show that you are willing to try and learn. Instead of berating yourself when you make a mistake, just acknowledge that you are human and appreciate yourself for trying. Habit to stop doing number 3 is not about spending less money, but about being more minimal with your attention, and that is to stop consuming content that you do not enjoy or value. A large part of the content that we are consuming, be it on your phone or laptop, TV, newspaper, magazine, etc., it doesn't really matter, is being consumed pretty mindlessly. And we are watching things that are being served to us, be it on social media through algorithms or commercials on TV. A large part of what we see is not something that we actively chose because it's beneficial for us. And of course, I recognize the irony because I'm talking to you on YouTube right now, but we can be a lot more mindful of the type of content that we are consuming. So for example, on social media, to make sure that the people you are following are actually people who are perhaps teaching you or inspire you in any way that add value to your life, that is really great. Instead of just scrolling through pages and pages of content, see if you can actually ask yourself, is this type of content really adding any benefit to you in any way? And if not, stop consuming it. Which also brings me to number 4, and that is to stop checking your phone every time you are bored. And I recognize this in myself as well, and I always need to be mindful of this because it's so easy and it's so addictive to just grab your phone every time you have a spare minute or two. And when I'm not careful, I am on my phone every time I am waiting for the bus, or if I'm having lunch with someone and they're using the restroom, just every time I have a spare minute. And that is not a healthy habit to have. Those little moments here and there, they add up. So try to be more intentional with how you use your phone and only use it for when you actually want to look something up, for example. And if you do find yourself having a free minute, then instead of grabbing your phone in a mindless way, try to just experience your surroundings and maybe feel the sun on your face or take a deep breath or two. Your phone does not control you. The next habit to stop doing will help you apply minimalism to your everyday life more, and that is to stop going places just because they are Insta-worthy. And I'm not hating on Instagram here or even on taking pictures when you're out doing something, but sometimes I will talk to people and they will admit that they're only going somewhere because then they're going to be able to post about it on Instagram. And if you ask me, life is too short for that. You know that saying that if it's not on Insta, it didn't happen? I would like to change that into if you are only concerned about how things will look online, then the activity didn't happen because you didn't really experience it and enjoy it in the moment, and you're only concerned about impressing others on social media. So just ask yourself, if you really want to go somewhere, then go there. And if you are only concerned about follows and likes and just taking a good picture, then perhaps spend your time somewhere else, and you're really not any less interesting if you don't do the popular things. If you can stop this habit, it'll definitely help you with saving money, and that is to stop browsing online for things to buy. If you didn't want it in the first place before you knew about it, you probably don't need it, and practice the habit of letting your home tell you what to buy instead. So if you are running out of something, or if you notice you don't really have a good pair of jeans anymore, or if you just need new shoes because your current shoes are being worn out, that is something that's actually worth looking into. But if you go online and just browse for whatever is out there, chances are you're gonna find something to suddenly want, even though you didn't even knew about it before you did it. Number 7 will help you to practice minimalism with your time and energy more. And the habit to stop doing is planning things and saying yes to things when you are actually too busy. So many people seem to be in a constant state of being rushed and being busy and jerking themselves around from point A to point B. And I often hear people saying that they would love to do XYZ more often, but they never have the time. And sometimes it feels to me like people don't really value their time as much as they could or even should. Be the gatekeeper of your own calendar and don't overschedule yourself. At the very least, try not to plan yourself to the brink, and if possible, try to leave some time in your calendar to just think and daydream and process. Being less busy doesn't make you any less interesting or productive or worthwhile. Next week's video is going to be all about minimalism and being busy and how to deal with that hustle culture. So if you want to see that, then make sure that you are subscribed so you won't miss it when the video comes out. The next habit to stop doing is putting yourself last. And this has been very challenging for me too, to be honest, but it is very important. Because if you want to live more intentional and live a more minimalist lifestyle, that means that you are gonna try and be more proactive and be more vocal, and you're gonna say yes to things that you do want, but also you're gonna say no more often to things that you don't want. And if you are always putting yourself last and try to please others and put their needs above your own, it's gonna be very hard to do that. Be as kind and considerate to yourself and your own needs as much as you are towards others. And this can help you to feel happy and healthy and just fill your cup so it can overflow and you can help others from a position of positivity and balance. I always really like that quote, I'm gonna post it somewhere here, where they say, 2 things don't work if they are spread too thin: peanut butter and yourself. And I completely agree. If you want to learn how to do this better and you're interested in minimalism and simple living, then you can download my free ebook, and it is called the Simplify Your Life Challenge: 7 Days to a Happier and Simpler Life. It is completely free, and it is a great way to kickstart your simplifying journey, get inspired, start making some changes. The link is in the description. And number 9 is kind of an extension to that, and that is to stop accepting things for free that you don't really like. And part of minimalist living is, of course, having fewer possessions, even though for me it's not the main thing, and you can decide how much stuff is the right amount of stuff for you. But one category of items that doesn't really fit in a minimalist home or a minimalist lifestyle is just things you got for free or as a gift that you don't really find any true value in. It's okay to say no, even if someone is trying to give you something for free, because Even a free item is not completely free. You still have to pay for it with space in your home. You have to pay for it with time because you have to keep it clean. You have to look at it. So it's not completely free. And if you want to learn how to say no to gifts that you don't really like, or perhaps even declutter some gifts that you have received in the past that you don't really like anymore, then I can recommend watching this video right here. And the next habit to stop doing is hanging out with people who give you lots of negative energy. So this is more about social minimalism, be it online or in person, because the people that we surround ourselves with do affect us in many different ways. We do have a say about who is in our life and who we spend the most time with. Sometimes we'll have a relationship that really lasts us an entire life, and that is incredible and definitely a thing to cherish. But most friendships are impermanent and they change, and people change and circumstances change, and that is okay. So if you find yourself in a relationship or a friendship with someone who is always making you feel bad about yourself, or always trying to test out your boundaries, or maybe you feel like you're always giving more than you're getting even after you've maybe sat down with that person and talked about it with them, it could be a good idea to let that relationship go and be more careful about who you are surrounding yourself with. Thanks for sticking around, and please give this video a thumbs up because it helps support the channel, and stay tuned for next week's video about minimalism, being busy, and hustle culture. Don't forget to subscribe if you are not already, and as always, questions, comments, conversations down below. I love you guys, and I'll see you next week. Bye bye!